Welcome back to another episode of our Entitled People, where common sense takes a vacation and entitlement runs the show. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to subscribe. First story, so I'm quitting my job, thanks to a regular Karen. Now let me tell you about this woman, Karen. This woman, who comes in every day, has never once smiled or said good morning, and in general, she's been totally uncool. Yesterday, she came in and ordered 3 drinks and a sandwich while we were starting to pick up and get busier. The other barista took the order and went to make the sandwich. I made the drinks, put them in a tray, and then called them out. She meandered for a minute, then came over to get them, saying, "Excuse me." I said, "Yes." By this point, she'd been very rude to me for a year, and I wasn't going out of my way. She gets minimum wage level service. She gets a hello, thank you, and goodbye. The woman says, "I need something." I ask, "Yes." She says, "I need you to label my drinks." I tell her, "They're already labeled, ma'am." And me saying that, she loses it. She then goes off, yelling at me, saying, "Let me tell you something. Every damn time I come in, you never smile. You are always like this, and you never smile. I'm sorry you hate your job so much that you blah, blah, blah." The woman goes on, screaming at me in front of other customers. My heart was racing, and I was pissed. In the last couple of months, I've been spit on, yelled at, insulted, and more by customers, door dashers, and homeless people. So I let her know that she could have a great day, and I was sorry she didn't like me. With each attempt to yell and insult me further, I just loudly repeated, "Have a great day." The woman finally wore herself out and went back to her SUV parked outside our wall-sized window. She just sat for a minute. I made another drink, and the next thing I know, I look up. She's staring right at me. So I just make the next drink. I look up again, and Karen's holding her left hand up, waving a phone at me. When I didn't react, she starts aggressively pointing at her phone with her other hand, screaming, "I'm recording your miserable ass." She was going bananas. I then pointed to my ear, shrugged, and let her know I couldn't hear. Today, I'm sending in my "I'm not coming in today or ever again" text. I'm freaking out inside because I have rent to pay, bills to cover, and groceries to buy. But I'll be damned if I ever deal with that Karen again. Second story, asterisk. I own a jewelry business. At the time this took place, I was doing some promotion at a small local Celtic festival. I was just starting out at the time, working under my own purple 10x10 pop-up tent with attachable sidewalls. This minor detail comes into play later. So the show is going, and I only have 2 sidewalls up to block the sun. I'm sitting behind the tables in the back, working on a custom order for a client. That's when Karen and her daughter enter. Her daughter was about 15 years old. My husband starts his typical chat and spiel with the mother. She tells him she's just looking. Karen then sees that I'm working, and she starts to move the items on the table so she can lean over the 2-foot-wide table to see what I'm working on. I pop my head up, lift my magnifying goggles, and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, please, don't rearrange my stock." Karen says, "Well, I can't see what you're doing." I tell her I'm working on a client's custom necklace. If you need a hand, my husband will happily assist you. Karen says, "That doesn't look hard to do. You should hire my daughter. She makes paracord bracelets." I tell the woman, "We're not hiring at the moment, but I'll keep your suggestion in mind." That's when Karen says, "Well, she can do sales, and you shouldn't have a male working, selling jewelry. That's weird." My husband, hearing that, raises his eyebrows and rolls his eyes behind her back. The daughter then says, "Mom, I want to buy this and this," picking up a couple of pairs of earrings and a necklace. Karen says, "No, sweetie, wait until you're an employee. Then you can use your discount." I say to her, "I'm sorry, but we're not hiring at the moment." And that male is my husband and business partner. Karen just huffs and grabs her daughter by the arm, starting to walk away. I nod to my husband to chase after them to get the product back from the daughter. He comes back and we chuckle over the situation. I thought it was over. I was wrong. An hour later, Karen comes back. She says, "So, I've been watching from over there, and you've sold a lot of jewelry. I can also see a lot of people walking around with your bags." I just reply, "Okay, thanks." She then goes on and says, "So listen, I think I should be your business partner. You can make everything, and I'll sell it. We'll split 50-50s. Hearing that, my mind basically hit the blue screen of death. My jaw hit the ground. My husband says, "Excuse me, could you repeat that, ma'am?" Karen snaps. "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her." You have no business around women's jewelry. At that point, my brain finally reboots and I say, I'm sorry. I'm just not looking for a business partner right now. I have one. My husband and I own this business. Karen's clearly not listening because she says, oh, he doesn't count. He's just your husband. And I've been watching. He doesn't even do anything. I just say, okay, that's it. I stand up and say, ma'am, I do not need or want a partner, and I'm not looking for an employee. This is a family business. So, have a great day. Karen stalks off. 10 minutes later, my husband goes off for a break, and suddenly I hear a ripping noise as the sidewall gets torn off my tent. I stand up ready to defend my cash box hand. It's her. The woman starts ranting at me in a high-pitched, scratchy voice, and honestly, at this point, I barely even register her words. Then she starts to grab at my tools, saying she can sell my stuff for me, and that I need her, that my business needs her because without her, I'm nothing. I scream for security and my husband. I turn to her and say, get your effing hands off my stuff and get the F out of my booth. Security hears me, comes, and removes her from the festival. Later, comparing notes, I found out she tried this on another booth too. Third story asterisk for simplicity's sake. I'll call my cousin Lily. That's not her real name. Lily and I are 13 years apart, and we have a strong connection. I love her to bits. I was there the day she was born, and when she was 8 months old, we found out that she was missing a part of her brain. She's nonverbal and physically disabled. She started having seizures when she was 11 months old, and she was diagnosed with epilepsy along with cerebral palsy, even though she was physically held back. I knew she loved being around me, and she especially loved toys that made music. As she grew up, she helped me realize what I want to do with my life. Take care of mentally and physically disabled kids. That's what I do now, and I love it. I really feel like it's my calling. So, now to the main event. It was Lily's 6th birthday party, and we had it in a park. Some of the people invited had kids that weren't disabled, so they could play on the playground. Lily, of course, couldn't play, so we laid out a blanket for her and put some of her toys out. I stayed on the blanket to keep her company in. That's when this random kid comes up and asks if he can play with one of her toys. I say, sure, but not the one she's playing with. Hearing that, the kid stomps his foot and says, but that's the only good one. Mind you, this kid is like 6 years old, and the toy Lily was playing with was the gift I bought her for her birthday. Dog piano thing that sings songs when she hits it. It's perfect for her. So I say, oh no, sorry, my cousin Lily's playing with it right now. You can either wait or play with one of the other toys, or you can go play on the playground with the other kids. The kid throws a full tantrum and screams, no, I want to play with that one, so give it to me. Then he tries to grab it out of Lily's hands. I tell him to stop trying to take her birthday present from her, and I try to explain nicely, it's not nice to take things from others. How would you feel if someone took your birthday present? The kid runs off, and I think it's over. But cue the Karen. A woman comes marching up to me and says, excuse me, my son wants to play with that toy. I say, yeah, I know. I told him Lily's playing with it right now. And I offered him another toy while he waits. That's when Karen hits me with, listen, I'm trying to teach my son to share, and if others don't share with him, he won't learn. She has other toys she can play with, so please give that toy to my son. I say no. He tried to take it from her, and this is her birthday present, so he can wait. What Karen says next still makes me furious to this day. She says, well, it's not like she'd care. She isn't all there, so it won't make a difference, will it? I just stare at her and say, excuse me. Karen doubles down. Well, she's mentally disabled, right? She won't care because she doesn't even know how to think. She can't even walk. So come on, let my son play with the toy. At this point, I'm shaking with rage. I say, how dare you say that? She didn't choose to be like this. She was born this way. She has a rare genetic disorder. She can play with whatever toys she wants, no matter what her mental or physical state is. And honestly, you must be mentally challenged for even saying that. Please, leave. Karen calls me a B, asterisk, and then actually rips the toy out of Lily's hands. She then angrily marches to her kid at the playground and gives it to him. I get another adult to watch Lily while I run after Karen. I rip the toy out of her hands and say, how dare you steal from a disabled child? Karen says, I didn't steal from anyone. I tell her, return the toy, or I will call the police. As soon as she hears the word police, she says, F, ****, that you can keep this stupid toy. It's for disabled kids who don't know any better. I tell her, you know what? Maybe I will file a report for harassment and theft. Karen tells me to go to hell, grabs her kid, and they run to their car. Later, I tell my aunt what happened. Turns out, she was just some random lady in the park, a complete stranger. She let her son crash our party, ruin it with her disgusting attitude, and they even took some of our cake. We never filed anything because she ran off to the parking lot, and we didn't chase her. So now she's still out there, ready to steal more disabled kids' toys. Lady, if you're out there, I hope your kid grows up and learns to be a decent human being and gets far, far away from you. And for anyone thinking, if I were in shoes, I would have hurt that lady. Trust me, I was this close. I pushed her a couple of times, but didn't hit her. Looking back, I wish I had. That's the only thing I regret, not smacking her around and getting her license plate number. Fourth story, asterisk. I used to be the manager at a fabric store, so I've had a lot of entitled moms come through my doors. But the most memorable one was this lady. It was a busy day, and I was helping cut fabric when her number was called. She walks up and sets her 2-year-old on the cutting counter, right next to her fabric. I say to her, ma'am, could you please take your child off the counter? It's actually dangerous, and I need the space to cut your fabric. Karen replies, but my arms are full. I say, if your arms are full, there are shopping carts at the entrance and they even have a child seat. It's a win-win. She rolls her eyes and storms off, leaving the kid and the fabric behind. Now, the front of the store wasn't far from the counter, so at first I wasn't super worried. But then a few minutes pass, and she still hasn't come back. I get worried. This wasn't the first time. Someone had just left their child in the store, so I pick up her baby and start walking around the aisles to find her. I find her shopping like nothing happened. I say, ma'am, I think you forgot to come back for your kid. She ignores me and says, where's my fabric? I say, what? She says again, my fabric. I told you I need 2 yards. I respond, ma'am, you left your baby on the counter, and you need to be present while I cut the fabric. And then she says this, I left him with you. You were watching him while I finished shopping. I'm absolutely baffled. I say, ma'am, that's not how this works. You really need to keep an eye on your own child. And this woman, without missing a beat, says, hey, you're paid to be here, right? So I'm paying your wage. Just watch him so I can get my shopping done. He's not that hard to watch. I say, if he's not that hard to watch, I'll just put him in your cart. How about that? I try to hand the baby to her, but she pulls the cart away from me and says, I'll take him back when you cut my fabric and I'm done shopping at this point. I'm fed up and in a really awkward spot, so I snap. I walk back to the cut counter where one of my coworkers cuts the 2 yards of fabric. But instead of walking it back to her, I march to the front of the store and grab the PA system mic. And over the store speakers, I loudly say, attention fabric store shoppers. Would the woman who left her baby at the cut counter please come and pick him up? We are not a daycare. Once again, the woman who left her baby at the cut counter, please come pick him up. Thank you. You could hear a pin drop through the whole store, except for the furious wheels of a shopping cart heading my way. Karen shows up, absolutely fuming, grabs her kid, and storms through checkout. I smiled and told her to have a nice day. Fifth and last story, asterisk. My husband and I host family dinners at our house every month or so. I have several sets of fine plates that I like to rotate seasonally. Beautiful pieces I inherited from my grandmother. When we host these get-togethers, I serve dinner on them. My mother-in-law compliments the plates every time. My son-in-law, on the other hand, has made snide little comments like, they're not really my style. I didn't think much of it at first, until this past February, when one of my plates was found broken in the sink. I chalked it up to an accident. Then in April, we hosted another dinner. This time, my sister was carrying both her plate and her boyfriend's plate to the sink, and she accidentally dropped both. Okay, still possible. Then in May, she broke 2 more plates. June, she broke a plate and a cup. At this point, I started catching on. I brought up my concerns to my husband, and he brushed it off, saying, accidents happen. Sure they do, but this many, all involving her. I told my mom about it. She thought the same thing I did. My sister-in-law was doing it on purpose, so my mom gave me a camera to put in the dining room. In July, we had another dinner. This time, my mother-in-law and her boyfriend joined us. While the plates were still on the table, my mill asked about my plants. I offered to show her hand, asked my husband to come too, so he could show off the herbs he was growing. That left sister-in-law and her boyfriend alone at the table. 5 minutes later, when we come back, inside, guess what? Her plate is broken. After they left, I pulled up the camera footage. I watched her stand up the moment we walked outside. She peeked around the corner and then straight up through the plate on the ground. I kept the video to myself. Now fast forward to this past weekend. We hosted another family dinner. This time it included our in-laws, my sister-in-law and her boyfriend, my parents' siblings, and niece. I served everyone and saved evil sister-in-law for last, and I made a show of it. I brought her food out on a child's plate, a sippy cup, and those plastic-handled kid utensils. She looked confused and said, "I think you mixed my plate up with your niece's." I smiled and said, "Oh no, niece is responsible enough to eat on a grown-up plate. If you're going to act like a child in my home, I'm going to treat you like a child in my home." She tried to play dumb, but I had my iPad ready. I pulled it out and played the video for the entire table. She immediately burst into tears. She threw a tantrum, swiped the kid's plate off the table, and stormed out. My in-laws both apologized and offered to pay for replacements, but I told them not to worry. Despite the drama, the dinner actually ended on a good note. After everyone left, my husband told me I was out of line and cruel. I reminded him that this had been happening for months, and I'd told him multiple times that it was bothering me. It's now Wednesday, and he's still being cold. I also got a text from my sister-in-law's boyfriend asking me to apologize because, quote, "You really embarrassed her. I just sent him the video again. He left me on read. My husband later called to ask if I was taunting her boyfriend because his sister called him crying again. He thinks I should apologize. I won't." That's it for today's episode of Our Entitled People. If you enjoyed the stories, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next dose of entitlement. Got a wild story of your own? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.